What if you never had to pay rent ever again? For years, rent prices have been exploding, and it's been absolutely insane. But in 2026, things have finally started to slow down. The crazy price growth is over. But let's be real, even if prices only go up 1%, it's still impossibly expensive. There's a massive shortage of millions of affordable homes. For so many people, the gap between what they earn and the cost of an apartment is just too big. The dream of renting, saving, and buying a house is completely dead for a lot of people. But what if I told you that people are fighting back in the most incredible way? This isn't happening in some corporate boardroom. It's happening in backyards and secret online groups. It's a revolution of insane creativity. People are finding shocking and genius ways to live without paying rent forever. So today, we're not just looking at a problem. We're launching an investigation. I'm going to show you the 10 most unexpected ways Americans are surviving and even thriving without paying rent. These aren't just tricks. These are blueprints for a whole new way of life. Number 10. The Secret Van Life Survival Network. Kicking off our list at number 10 is something that went from a cool Instagram hashtag to an actual survival tool: the explosion of RV and van nomad networks. You've seen van life, right? The pictures of waking up to an ocean view? Well, it's transformed into what some experts are calling mainstream poverty housing. But out of this insane challenge, people have built a secret support system to help thousands live without a home address or a rent check. The idea is simple: huge groups of people living in vehicles from giant RVs to old station wagons work together to survive. The reality isn't always pretty views. It's the constant stress of finding a safe place to park for the night, because many cities have made it illegal. And this is where these secret networks come in. They use encrypted messaging apps and private groups to create a massive support system. It's like air traffic control for people without homes. They share real-time information on safe parking spots, where police are, and where to find clean water. These aren't just chat rooms. This is their lifeline. I want you to imagine this. A 58-year-old construction worker, David, lost his apartment after an injury wiped out his savings. He bought an old van but found himself playing a cat-and-mouse game with the police every single night. Then, he found a network, and his life completely changed. He found a safe place to park with other people. When his van broke down, a retired mechanic in the group helped him fix it for free. In return, David used his skills to help another member repair their RV roof. This is how they live, rent-free. Their currency isn't cash, it's skills and teamwork. They trade solar panel repair for childcare and mechanical advice for food. It is a raw, powerful community that proves when the system fails you, the only thing you have left is each other. Number 9. Tiny home villages for teachers and nurses. Coming in at number 9 is a solution to one of the craziest problems in our economy. The people who keep our cities running, like teachers and nurses, can't even afford to live in them. The solution is insane. Dedicated tiny home villages, built by these essential workers, for these essential workers. This isn't the fancy minimalist stuff you see on TV. This is about survival. A tiny home can be built for as little as $30,000, a fraction of a normal house. But the real genius is how they own it. They are building these villages on shared land that they crowdfunded themselves or got from churches and nonprofits. For decades, zoning laws made it illegal to build these kinds of homes. But with the housing crisis getting so bad, cities are finally starting to give in, opening the door for these crazy new ideas. Picture a group of teachers in Colorado. They were spending over 60% of their pay on rent and were about to be forced to leave their jobs. So, they pooled their money and formed a cooperative. They got a small piece of land and spent their weekends literally building their own houses from kits. The rent-free angle here is collective ownership and sweat equity. Instead of paying rent to a landlord, their payment was the cost of their home and a tiny fee to a community fund. The land itself is owned by a community trust, a legal trick that separates the land from the houses, keeping it affordable forever. This is their weapon against gentrification. It's more than just a bunch of small houses. It's a real neighborhood where they're turning a desperate situation into an incredible model for the future. Number 8. Pro Co-living, the ultimate roommate. Upgrade at number 8. We have a solution for a totally different group: young professionals. These are your designers, tech workers, and managers who make good money but are still priced out of big cities. Their answer is epic. Co-living collectives. And I don't mean just having roommates. These are entire buildings, like duplexes and fourplexes, turned into insane shared living spaces. This missing middle housing used to be common, but then it was made illegal to build. Now, it's finally coming back. The idea is to mix small private spaces with awesome shared amenities costs, and crush the loneliness a lot of adults feel. You might get your own private bedroom and bathroom, but the kitchens, living rooms, and even rooftop gardens are all shared. This gives them a quality of life they could never afford on their own. Let's imagine a collective in Austin, Texas. A group of 8 professionals, tired of wasting their money on tiny apartments, decided to pool their cash and buy a rundown fourplex together. And this is where it gets interesting. They live rent-free through shared equity and trading. For example, a member who's a carpenter renovates the kitchen in exchange for a smaller buy-in. A financial analyst manages the group's money. A chef organizes group dinners, which saves everyone a ton of cash on food. Their monthly payments aren't going to a landlord. They're building equity in their OWN building. They escaped the rent trap and built an amazing community at the same time. Number 7. Building apartments in your parents' backyard. Our 7th solution is bringing back an old idea with an incredible modern twist. The intergenerational household cluster. For most of history, families lived together. Now, people are rediscovering this by building accessory dwelling units, or ADS. An ADO is basically a small, second home built in the backyard of a main house. You might know them as granny flats. For years, they were illegal almost everywhere, but with the housing crisis out of control, cities from California to Oklahoma are changing their laws to encourage them. It's a total win-win-win. It gives adult kids a place to live, lets aging parents stay close to family, and creates a powerful economic engine for everyone. Think about the Sanchez family in a suburb of LA. Maria and Carlos are in their 60s and own their home but have a fixed income. Their daughter Sofia is a single mom who can't afford rent and is drowning in childcare costs. So, they used a new law to fast-track a permit, took out a loan, and built a small ado in their backyard for Sofia and her son. This is where the rent-free system is genius. Sofia doesn't pay $1 in rent. Instead, her rent is helping her mom every day. She also completely eliminates her childcare costs. Her being there gives her parents peace of mind. The money all 3 of them save is huge. They are literally weaving their family back together and using their own property and skills to create their own economy outside of the insane rental market. Number 6. Living in a school bus you own. At number 6, we are getting into some next-level creativity with converted bus and container home networks. This is way beyond an RV. We're talking about people who take old school buses and shipping containers and turn them into fully customized, livable homes. This movement is driven by a wild spirit of independence, but these people face huge legal problems. Most cities have no idea what to do with a school bus as a house, and finding a place to legally park it is a nightmare. So, the solution was to form networks and buy land together. They find rugged, rural plots of land in places with fewer rules where a group of them can legally park their creations. Picture this. A dozen people who met in an online forum for schoolie builders find a 5-acre piece of land in Oregon. They form an LLC to buy it as a group. The cost, split 12 ways, is nothing. Now they have a home base where they can't be evicted. The rent-free angle here is insane. They own the land together and run a barter economy. The community becomes a giant workshop. A welder in the group helps everyone with their metal frames. Someone with solar panel experience designs the electrical systems for multiple buses. They buy materials like insulation in bulk to save thousands. This exchange of skills is their currency. Once the homes are built, their only rent is a tiny fee for taxes and shared utilities. They are literally building their own society on their own terms. If you think these secret housing solutions are insane, and if you believe in the power of community, then please, take 1 second to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us find even more crazy stories like these. Now, let's get back to the list, because the ideas only get wilder from here. Number 5. Building your own mini neighborhoods. Coming in at number 5 is a solution that's both old school and futuristic. Cottage courts and multiplex shares. This model is all about creating entire mini neighborhoods of small homes that are super affordable because of a unique, labor-based co-op structure. A cottage court is just a group of 8 to 12 small homes built around a shared yard. The design literally forces people to be a community. This was a super common way to build in the early 20th century, but then it was banned. Now people are looking at these old designs for answers. The 2026 innovation is how they're being managed. Instead of being built by a big company, they're being set up as housing cooperatives where the residents are in charge. Imagine a project in a Midwestern city. A nonprofit buys a trashed lot, and instead of building one giant expensive house, they partner with a housing co-op to build a court of 10 small homes for people who are priced out of the area. The rent-free system is based on contributing labor. Every member has to contribute a few hours of work each month to the community. A retired accountant does the books. A stay-at-home parent organizes a child care sharing schedule. A handyman leads the maintenance team, saving everyone thousands of dollars. Their monthly cost isn't rent. It's a small carrying charge that covers the co-op's mortgage. Because a nonprofit owns the land, it stays affordable forever. And because they do their own labor, the costs are almost nothing. They're proving that by building smaller and smarter, we can create pockets of insane affordability. Number 4. The digital nomad land pods at number 4. We have something straight out of the future. Mutual aid land sharing pods. This is getting crazy popular with digital nomads and remote workers who can live anywhere but are finding out that anywhere is now too expensive. The concept is shockingly simple. Groups of people, or pods, team up to lease or buy land and then fill it with modular, pre-built living units. These are basically just a small bedroom and a workspace, because bigger things like kitchens and bathrooms are all communal, which makes the cost of each person's unit insanely cheap. The mutual aid part is everything. These are highly organized systems where they trade skills, and they even build their own digital platforms to manage it all. The entire community basically runs on barter. Let's imagine a pod in New York's Hudson Valley. A group of 15 remote workers, programmers, writers, designers are sick of the city. They lease a 10-acre plot of land. The rent-free angle is a multi-layered barter system. Their biggest expense, the land, is paid for in the most creative ways. For example, the web developers in the group might build an online store for a local farm in exchange for a huge chunk of the lease payment, and a weekly supply of food for the entire pod. A content creator might run social media for local shops, with her fees going straight into the community fund. Inside the pod, almost no cash is used. A yoga teacher gives daily classes. A woodworker builds furniture for everyone. They are using their 21st century skills to create a pre-industrial village economy, trading computer code for carrots and marketing for a place to live. It's wild. Number 3. Buying an entire city block. Our third most unexpected solution could literally reshape entire American neighborhoods. Missing middle housing cooperatives? This is taking the co-living idea and scaling it up to an insane level by buying multiple houses on the same block. Missing middle housing, as we've talked about, is all those duplexes and townhomes that used to be everywhere. Zoning laws made them illegal to build for decades, which is a huge reason rent got so out of control. The cooperative model is the key. When you join a housing co-op, you buy a share in the whole thing, which lets you live in one of the units. Let's look at a co-op in Minneapolis, a city that's been a leader in these reforms. A group of 20 families, all renting on the same block, form the Elm Street Housing Cooperative. Instead of trying to buy a giant apartment building, they target a bunch of aging duplexes on their street. They pool their money for a down payment on the first one. The rent-free system is all about collective equity. Members pay a monthly carrying charge that is way lower than rent, and part of that payment builds their own equity. Using their own sweat equity for renovations, they save enough to buy another house on the block within 2 years. As they acquire more and more properties, they create their own micro-neighborhood, stopping gentrification and rebuilding the missing middle for a new generation. Number 2, the closed-loop eco-villages. Coming in at number 2 is a solution that's a whole new philosophy of life, the eco-village resource exchange. These communities are taking sustainable living to a level I have never seen before, creating closed-loop systems where their shelter, their food, and their energy are all part of an internal, labor-based economy. But these are not isolated off-grid compounds. The modern eco-village uses smart technology to be completely self-sufficient. They even use crazy, energy-efficient buildings like monolithic dome homes. The entire principle is exchanging labor for the resources you need to live. Members don't pay rent. They contribute work, and this work is tracked and valued, forming the basis of the entire village's economy. Picture an eco-village on 50 acres of old farmland in Pennsylvania. The members' first project is to literally bring the land back to life. They build their own houses. Once they're set up, the rent-free system is incredible. A member might work 20 hours a week in the village's geothermal greenhouse, which grows food for everyone. That labor earns them credits that pay for their housing, their food, and their energy, which comes from the village's own microgrid. Another member maintains the community's shared electric cars. Another works in the village school. They use smart systems to track energy use. A biodigester turns all their trash into methane gas for a backup generator and fertilizer for the gardens. This isn't just about surviving without rent. It's about building a completely different regenerative world. It's insane. Number 1, the most heartwarming solution, and finally, the number 1 most unexpected and maybe the most incredible solution on this list, is informal disability inclusive home shares. This model creates a powerful connection between people who need care and people who need housing. It's all built on state-funded programs that help people with disabilities live in communities instead of institutions. The innovation is how everyday people are using these funds to create a completely rent-free life. The concept is simple. A person or family with a spare room invites an individual with a disability to live with them. The homeowner becomes a paid caregiver through the state program, and the rent is completely offset by the care they provide. Let's look at this story from Chicago. Sarah, a recently divorced woman, is about to lose her house because she can't make the mortgage payments. Through a local disability network, she gets matched with 2 young women with developmental disabilities who have state funding to help them live. They move into Sarah's spare bedrooms, and here's how the model is genius. Sarah becomes their official caregiver and receives a stipend from the state that is big enough to cover her entire mortgage payment. In exchange, the 2 women live in her home, 100% rent-free. Sarah gets to keep her house and finds a new purpose in life, and the 2 young women get to thrive in a supportive, loving home instead of an institution. This model is a profound statement about the value of helping each other, and it's quietly building more inclusive communities, one house at a time. So there you have it. 10 creative, shocking, and incredibly human ways people are fighting back against a broken housing system. From the secret RV networks to the quiet dignity of home shares, what we are seeing is a nationwide explosion of grassroots innovation. These aren't just survival stories. These are the seeds of a new social contract. The one thing that connects every single solution on this list is a radical shift from isolation to community. They are all a powerful statement that housing should be a human right, not just something you buy. When the system fails, people create their own systems of care. These models aren't perfect. They were born from desperation and face their own legal challenges. But there is so much hope in these stories. They prove that we have the power to build a more affordable and connected world. The future of American housing might not be built by giant corporations, but by small groups of neighbors with a shared vision for a different way to live. Now, I want to hear from you. Which one of these solutions was the most shocking or the most inspiring to you? Could you see yourself living in a cottage court or a land-sharing pod? Let me know in the comments. Your perspective is a huge part of this conversation. And if you want to see how zoning laws are being totally reformed to make some of these insane ideas possible, Check out our next video right here. Thank you so much for watching. See you again.